Oh, do I got a special preview video for you today? What is up, Finn fans? Week 15. Two more games and the season's over. Then we can start talking about draft, free agency, and the hot stuff that the Dolphins have planned for this offseason. So you gotta get through two more weeks, can watch a few more games, figure out where we're gonna land up in the draft, see if we can win some, see if we lose some, see how it all pans out. But I got a very special video for you guys today. I have a special guest to help me break down the 5 things that the Dolphins need to do to beat the Giants. And that's none other than Chris. You might as well know him also as the Entertainah. Great Giant YouTuber. I got him on this episode to talk about the 5 things the Dolphins need to do to be the Giants. He gives a little intel on the Giant side of it. Also talks about what he likes about the Dolphins, how he feels about Miami, all that great stuff. So that's going to be in the 5 things the Dolphins need to do to beat the Giants. I got him coming in, doing some great things. Great guy. If you haven't yet, I'm going to say it again, but his YouTube channel is linked below. It's also be at the end in the end card. Be sure to check him out. He's a great Giant YouTuber. Great guy. Also, if you haven't seen it yet, be sure to check out his reaction video for the Giants drafting Daniel Jones. Hilarious. Absolutely hilarious. But like usual, we're going to talk about the injury report, talk about the Giants a little bit, get into 5 things with Chris from the Entertainah, and then I'll give you my prediction, and we'll get to comment of the day. And comment of the day is something I've been hearing a lot from for the past few days that we need to address, and that involves Tom Brady coming to the Miami Dolphins. I'm going to talk about that in comment of the day. So let's jump into the injury report, like usual. Let's pop up that injury report, and let's look at it. So the injury report is big. Now, Jerome Baker is on the injury report. Not worried about that. Chandler Cox, not worried about that. Full practice, limited practice. Ryan Fitzpatrick, he's always on there. Alan Hearns didn't practice, and then full practice Thursday. God, do we need Alan Hearns to practice and play. Patrick Laird, full practice, not worried about that. Hip injury. What's going on with him? Nick Needham, our only good corner that's on the team right now. Limited practice. That worries me. Devontae Parker, limited practice. Gerald Willis, he's not going to go. And Albert Wilson, also limited practice. Both of those guys, red shirting it up. If you don't know what that means, you wear red jerseys. You don't touch them. Just don't touch them. Don't touch them. Both are still in concussion protocol. We'll find out Sunday if they go. It is going to be a huge deciding factor if both of these guys can go, because you saw against the Jets when both of those guys got knocked out of the game and both of them didn't come back. All of a sudden, our red zone was just inept, because all the defense then does, we're going to double team Gesicki, and we're going to make you beat us with your other guys. Isaiah Ford had some nice catches. Alan Hearns started showing up, but it wasn't looking too good without Devontae Parker and Albert Wilson. So if they can't go, this is going to be 2 different games. Let's say that. Let's talk about the New York Giants. Their injury report is longer. Janoris Jenkins didn't practice for 2 weeks, and Kevin Zeitler, their guard, also didn't practice for 2 weeks. So those are for 2 weeks, for 2 days. Again, I record this on Thursday nights, so I don't know what's happening today. It's coming out Friday, so things could change. But those 2 guys look like they're a no-go, but everyone else looks like they're a go, especially Evan Ingram. But the Giants, I didn't know if the Giants were going to do too great. If you guys noticed when I did my schedule prediction for the season, I kind of had the Dolphins beating the Giants, because I was like, hey, I don't think the Giants are going to be too great. I didn't think they'd be 2-11 right now. I think they're on a 9-game losing streak, which I think it's tied for the longest in Giants history. If I'm correct, I don't know if I'm 100%. Be sure to correct me, Giant fans below. But they're on a 9-game losing streak, and 2-11 is bad. Now, us as Dolphin fans, when we lost to the Jets, we were all like, all right, Giants, you beat the Eagles. Then all of a sudden, we're in position to get that 2nd overall pick for the people who want the higher picks. And that's what it comes down to as well. If the Dolphins lose to the Giants then play the Redskins, and then they play the Eagles again. They play the Eagles hard, and the Redskins aren't too great. So that game next week between the Giants and Redskins, especially if the Giants beat the Dolphins, can really help the Dolphins get that second overall pick. They can technically still get the first overall pick. And real quick, strength of schedule, it doesn't matter who beats who. If you have the same record but you have a lower strength of schedule, you get the higher pick. I've said 1,000 times. So it doesn't matter head-to-head matchups, only if you have the same strength of schedule. Because if you have a lower strength of schedule and you have you have an easier schedule, but you have the same, you should win, essentially. So with the Giants, that's going to be big. So now let's go to the 5 things the Miami Dolphins have to do. So I got Chris, the Entertainah, here. And if you guys don't know who he is, come on. Oh, and he's an amazing Giants YouTuber. He live streams every game, right? You live stream him every
I do the primetime games, yeah, the Thursday night. I'll be doing the game tonight. The Giants games Monday night, Sunday night, yeah.
So you guys, first off, before we jump into the 5 things that the Dolphins need to do to beat the New York Giants, be sure to check him out. I got him linked below. Subscribe to his channel. It's an amazing, amazing, amazing channel. Be sure to check out his channel. So let's jump into, for me personally, this is what I think the 5 things that the Miami Dolphins need to do to beat the New York Giants. Now, before we jump into that, this game, it's 2 bad teams facing each other.
I've touted this game the Chase Young Bowl. That's essentially what it is. I look at it like the Giants have 2 Chase Young Bowls coming up. It's the Dolphins and the Redskins. And I don't know if you guys would take him because you might need a quarterback. But, yeah, I could never root for my team to lose. That's just the type of fan I am.
Yeah.
But I understand that there's a benefit to losing. I will not root for us to lose. And I think this is a coin flip game going in. But, yeah, it should be interesting. One thing I will say about your team before we get started, I got a ton of respect for Flores.
Yeah.
I think he's doing an unbelievable job with the talent you guys have, and I think you guys have a really bright future with all the draft picks you guys have accumulated over the last year.
Yeah, definitely. And the fact that he's got 3 wins with
XFL talent.
Yeah, it's a team filled with practice squad players. It's just it is what it is. Is just you got to give him that type of respect. But a lot of it depends on what Chris Grier can do with the draft and free agency, because you don't get the right players in place, it don't really matter from there. But
right.
For me, the first thing, now I have this list, but it's never in most important to least important. It's just while I'm thinking about the Giants, watching the Giants stuff, I just write down 5 things. And for me, number 1, Saquon Barkley. Regardless if you guys have an offensive line, don't have an offensive line, Daniel Jones, Eli Manning, Saquon Barkley is just dangerous. The man is dangerous, and if the Dolphins have any shot at beating the Giants, they need to slow down, stop Saquon, because even Monday, he was running all over the Eagles at some point.
Yeah, that's a great point you bring up. Saquon Barkley this year's actually been disappointing because he sustained an injury, but everybody knows he seems like he's starting to get back into it. The last 2 games, the stats haven't jumped off the page, but he's been consistent. He's getting 3, 4, 5 yards every time he touches the ball. We're still waiting for that big run. He had a ton of those last year, and I think he's still getting his confidence under him. But, yeah, especially with Eli Manning behind center, I think Saquon is better, just for the simple reason that I think Eli has a better pre-snap read on the defense than Daniel Jones does, and he sets him up for better run opportunities, being that Jones is a rookie.
Yeah, 100%. And I was even talking about Eli versus Daniel Jones. That's the same thing I brought up with Fitzpatrick versus Rosen, because when Rosen was in there, he was taking sacks and he was doing all that stuff. Once Fitz came in, these vets know how to slide protection, read defenses, and do all that stuff. So that's another thing I got on my list, but we'll get to that in a second.
But yeah, that's always the key when you play the Giants. That should always be number 1.
Yeah, 100%.
Yeah.
Because Saquon, he, like you said, he's been dealing with his injury, but yesterday he has those tree trunks for legs, and he was just breaking dudes' ankles left and right. Just so you know, most of the I would have to say 100% of the Dolphins fans were rooting for the Giants, because if you guys would have won Monday, it would have slowly took you out of that second overall pick and would have probably put the Dolphins in there. So a lot of Dolphin fans are rooting for you guys on Monday. But my number 2 thing that the Dolphins need to do to beat the Giants, Fitzmagic needs to be Fitzmagic. It's sad to say this, but the Miami Dolphins, if Ryan Fitzpatrick gets 16 more rushing yards, he's the leading rusher on the team. Like you can't make this up. Like it's just that bad. So for the Dolphins to beat the Giants, and the Giants, we saw it Monday. They were getting after Carson Wentz. There was a ton of pressure with Wilkins and a lot of blitzes and all that. Fitzpatrick has to be Fitzmagic if they have any chance at beating the New York Giants.
I'll tell you what, Fitzpatrick is a funny quarterback. We played him last year when he was on the Bucs, and I remember coming into that game. I think if it wasn't the highest, it was among the highest quarterback ratings in all of football. And then he kind of tailed off after that game. I actually think Winston came in for him in that game. But Fitzpatrick, when he is on, he's really good.
Yeah.
And he's and the thing that scares me about Fitzpatrick, as a Giants fan, and it's the same thing that I think you should be scared about with Eli. I think Eli's going to play.
Yeah.
Is he doesn't care. He's got nothing to lose. So he's willing to take chances that other quarterbacks may not take. Same thing with Eli. Eli knows this is his last 2-3 games, whatever it's going to be with the New York Giants. So he's going to take shots down the field when he feels like, it's worth a shot. And it's the same thing with Fitzpatrick. So I think that opens you guys up for, obviously mistakes, but at the same time, big play potential.
100%. I didn't even think about that. Yeah, these two vets, they know their time is limited, especially Eli. He's not going to be with the team next year. They're probably going to move on with him. And he's just, right now, if he had it his way, they would have beat the Eagles on Monday because he was just out there slinging it. Like,
he was balling.
He was doing his thing. It was amazing.
Yeah, I'm a huge Eli guy. I was happy to see it.
Yeah. The number 3 thing I have that the Miami Dolphins need to do, the players need to step up. Now, this Dolphin team is beat up. I don't know how beat up the Giants team is, but this Dolphin team is beat up. Parker and Albert Wilson have been redshirted in practice for 2 or 3 practices now with concussions. Alan Hearns is banged up. We have nobody in the secondary. Like, we have this undrafted rookie, Nick Needham, who's doing his thing. But other than that, we got no one. So if we have any resemblance of chance to beat the Giants, someone needs to step up because this team is just beat to crap.
Yeah, that should be one of your goals every week. Just because, if I'm being honest, I don't watch the Dolphins every week. I don't watch the Dolphins. I'm a Giants fan, and they're not really on prime time. But what I'll say about the Dolphins is, like we said before, they're an XFL team, which is why I think Flores, what he's been able to do with your team, he shouldn't win it because you got 3 wins, but he should be in consideration for Coach of the Year. He's gotten your guys to play so hard for him. And I tell you what, I think he got a great chance to win this game because of that. Yes, we have more talent and we're not that banged up. Leonard Williams is starting to get his thing going. We'll see if he can continue to do that. You should know him pretty well, former Jet.
Yeah.
We'll see, but I think we have more talent, but I think you guys are much better coached. I think Pat Shermer's a horrible coach, and I think that you guys will come more prepared than us. So it's going to come down. It's going to come down to. I think it's going to come down to a field goal. I think it's going to be a really close game. But yeah, that's got to be a key for you guys. You guys, for you guys to win a game, you guys have to play 110%. You can't have any layup. You have to give it your all. The Dolphins. Yeah.
It's funny that you bring up that the game's going to come down to a field goal because my number 4 thing is the Dolphins need to score more than a field goal. Because against the New York Jets, Sanders kicked 7 field goals.
I saw that, yeah.
He attempted 8. He missed 1 because of a bad snap. And he would have tied the record for most field goals in a game. The man kicked 7 field goals. We went into the red zone, I think, 5 times. They got to score a touchdown. Like, if they have any chance to beat, because you guys, as we have like both crappy records, you guys still have some dangerous weapons. You have that rookie that Eli threw 2 touchdowns to.
Darius Slayton.
You have Ingram. You still have Barkley. You still have Tate. Like, you guys still have these weapons. So for the Dolphins, especially being that we're so lacklustered in the secondary, for us to be competitive in this game, if it's going to be a back and forth thing, they got to do more than just kick a field goal.
Yeah, and the big key is Fitzpatrick. He's got to show up, and you got to be able to run the football effectively. And I think you will, to be honest with you. The Giants defense, I'll say this. We played really well in the first half. It's actually, last week was the best half of football we played on both sides of the ball. All of this whole year.
Yeah.
And then the second half, our defense just wore out, which has kind of been the case the entire year. our secondary suspect as well. And who knows if Janoris Jenkins is going to be suspended after what he did, calling somebody what did he say on Twitter again? I made a video on it today. He called him, I don't know, something stupid, though. He called somebody a retard on Twitter.
Oh, gosh.
Yeah. So he might have to sit for the game. So we have an incredibly inexperienced secondary. You're going to have your chances in this game, believe me.
Yeah. This is going to be a very, very tight game. And then the last thing I got that the Miami Dolphins need to do, the number 5 thing, is they got to pressure Eli, because you give Eli time in the pocket, like as old as he is and as washed up as some fans think he is, which is ridiculous to me, he could still make the throws. And we saw it Monday night. The man could still make the throws. He could still read the defense. He could still do his thing. And you can't give him time. But the Dolphins have no pass rush. We cannot get after a quarterback if our life depended on it. So if the Dolphins have any chance, they have to pressure Eli in any facet.
Yeah, that's a great call. And that's any game that Eli's in for the most part. I love Eli. He's my favorite player ever, actually, as a Giants fan. But I'll be the first to tell you that he's got feet of stone. And if you could get any pressure on him, he's going to go down. There was a play in the Eagles game last week where he wasn't even touched. He just fell to the ground because he was anticipating a sack. So if you're going to get pressure, if you get pressure on Eli, which Nate Solder sucks. Nate Solder is straight trash. I think he's the most overpaid player probably in the NFL. He's making $20 million. You're going to have opportunities to get after him. I don't know, I don't know your team like I know mine. So I don't know how strong your pass rushers may be, but regardless, we've surrendered. The first 2 weeks this year, our offensive line was actually really good.
Mm-hmm.
Since then, I think we rank, last I checked, I didn't check after this week, we were like 25th in run blocking and 23rd or 4th in pass blocking. So it's been bad.
Yeah. But yeah, that's my 5 things that the Dolphins need to do to beat the Giants. And like we were both saying, I don't think it's going to be as messy as the Jets Dolphins game, which was just a lot of Sam Darnold and Fitz just trying to make something out of nothing.
Mm-hmm.
But I think it's going to be close.
Yeah, I completely agree with you. I think it's going to be close. And I expect us in this game to really try to rely on Saquon Barkley. I don't see us taking a lot of shots down the field because I don't think we're going to need to. I think the goal's got to be to control the clock, pound it against your suspect defense, and Pat Shurmur sometimes doesn't go with the most obvious game plan, though, so we'll have to wait and see. But, yeah, that's my biggest goal as a Giants fan. That's always my biggest goal as a Giants fan. Every week, give the ball to Barkley as much as you possibly can, and it hasn't been something that we've done enough of this year. So we'll have to wait and see, and, hopefully Eli doesn't turn it over. He didn't last week, so those would be my 2 biggest keys. I think for you guys to win this game, I think you got to win the turnover battle.
Yeah. 100%, yeah.
Yeah.
But before I let you go, I just want to get your opinion. You're talking about Shurmur, your head coach. Do you think he'll be fired? And if so, who would you want to be replacing him?
It's funny you say that. I'm actually doing a series of videos on my channel with all the potential candidates because I expect him to be fired. I'd be surprised if he's back at this point. And I'm always one for stability. I don't like to see my coaches go, every 2 years, which is what this would be the second straight time. And that's not the Giants' way. Fossil was here for 8 years. We had Coughlin for, 2004 to like 12 or 13 years. So, that's the sign of a good organization. You look at the best teams in the league. Steelers, they've had Tomlin forever. Saints, they've had Peyton forever. So I don't like changing coaches, but Shurmur's been that bad. His misusage of timeouts late in game has been horrible. So I do think he'll be fired. And my number 1 choice would be Ron Rivera. I don't know if he's going to want to take the job because all Giants fans say, oh, Ron Rivera. But you also got to take into account from Ron Rivera's perspective. Does he want to come here?
Yeah.
So we've won 10 games in our last 3 years. We got an unproven quarterback. We got a suspect offensive line. It's not exactly, the pick of the litter. So we'll see. But yes, if I could pick one, my main reason being, well, first off, he's a great coach. I mean, he's had incredible, in my opinion, he's had great success. But the Giants' last 2 coaches have been offensive minds. They had McAdoo, OC, Shurmur, OC. If it doesn't work, switch it up. I want a defensive guy, a disciplinarian, similar to a Coughlin, who could come in here and get these rookies to to get in shape and, not be messing around. So yeah, he'd be my first choice. Maybe a Rule at a college from Baylor would be another guy I like, but Rivera would be my top choice.
Awesome. So be sure to check out Chris, the Entertainah. He's going to have a full series about the new head coach and all that stuff. So if you're a Giants fan and you're here, be sure to go over, check him out. Great YouTube channel. Thank you so much for being on. I really do appreciate it, Chris.
No, man, thank you so much for having me on. I always love collaborating with any kind of YouTube whenever I can, man. So I really like your channel as well.
Awesome. Thank you.
Got it, buddy.
So it was super fun, super great having Chris on. Now I'm going to talk about who I think is going to win the game. Now I'm going to talk about the game. Now, Chris said that he sees it being a close game. I as well see it as a close game. That's why one of the things I said is we got to score more than field goals. It all depends if Devontae Parker and Albert Wilson play. It's leaning towards that they're not, because the Giants defense, their front can still get pressure on you, can still, Wilkerson and all those guys. Look what they did with Carson Wentz on Monday. I'm still going to pick the Dolphins to win this one 17-14. I think it's going to be a low-scoring game, but I'm still going to pick the Dolphins to win this one by a field goal. Because Sandman's doing his thing with his leg. He should have had 8 field goals if it wasn't for a bad snap and a bad hold. Made him stutter step, and then he missed the kick. So, yeah, I'm picking the Dolphins to win this one. So be sure to comment below if you're a Giants fan. Be sure to comment below. Let me know what you think. What are the 5 things you think the Giants need to do to beat the Dolphins? Because this is a game where you guys need to have 5 things, because we're both kind of... You're 2-11. Dolphins are 3-10. Comment below, let me know. Dolphin fans, comment below, let me know. Also, comment below, let me know what you think of the collab. I'm totally always down to collab with other teams' YouTubers. I think it's really cool and something I really want to start doing, especially next season, especially in the offseason, especially during the draft. I might go on the Entertainah's channel and do some pre-draft stuff, bring him back. You never know, because I could see the draft picks going Bengals, Dolphins, Giants, or Bengals, Giants, Dolphins. So it'll be really cool. But be sure to comment below. Let me know. Let me get to comment of the day. Now, comment of the day isn't one specific person's comment. I've gotten these a lot on Twitter. I've gotten them a lot on Facebook. I've gotten a lot below. And a lot of you guys want to talk about, there's been a bunch of articles, but mostly I've seen this from the Miami Herald, talking about Tom Brady going to the Miami Dolphins. Now, it's NBC's sports reporter from Boston, Tom Curran, Curran. He talked about and he wrote about the fact of, if Tom Brady doesn't retire and the Patriots move on from him, the best landing spot and the most viable landing spot is the Miami Dolphins. And a lot of you guys want to know, what do I think about it? Do I think it's a good thing? Now, before I get into that, let's hear his reasoning, right? What he says is Tom Brady feels that he needs to prove something. He feels like he needs to show that he can be successful on another team that's not the Patriots. We all know that probably won't happen, especially if he comes to the Dolphins, because the Dolphins are still building something. They're still thriving. They're still slowly churning at something, right? Also, he says that we have quarterbacks coach, coached with Tom Brady. We have our offensive coordinator, Chad O'Shea, was with Tom Brady. Brian Flores was with Tom Brady. See what I'm saying? Michigan owner who loves Michigan, Tom Brady. He said that there's all those connections, so it just makes sense that Tom Brady would come to Miami. But it makes 0 sense for him to come to Miami because, 1, the Dolphins are getting younger. 2, they have Ryan Fitzpatrick on the table, on the bill for $5 million guaranteed next year. So why would we bring in another, even older vet? I get it, it's Tom Brady, but he's washed up. And does the man really want to teach younger quarterbacks? Because that's the other thing I hear. He might want to teach younger quarterbacks. But would he? Because he doesn't do it in Miami. Fitz, on the other hand, I can see Fitz teaching the next younger quarterback coming in next year, doing his thing, maybe even becoming a coach for us. I would like to see him as a coach. So no, I don't see him coming to Miami. It would make no sense to bring in a 42-year-old Tom Brady in just to eat up cap space and just, no, it makes no sense. No, one more time, no. So no, but no. I just don't. I don't. But real quick, before I get to my normal spiel, like I've said time and time again all week, me and my dad are going to be at the game Sunday. I'm also going to be live tomorrow for about an hour or so at noon. So be sure to hit that bell so you guys know when I go live. But I'm going to be live tomorrow, and me and my dad are going to be at the game Sunday. So if you guys want to check it out and come say hi, maybe take a picture and just chat, we will be at the game if you're going to the game on Sunday. I'm going to live stream a little bit on the way there and all that stuff. So just want to talk about that. But be sure to follow me on Twitter. I'm going to tweet out a lot of things while I'm at the game. Also on Instagram, I'm going to post a bunch of pictures, so check that out. So be sure to check me out on Twitter and Instagram. Check out the Bit Boys. Got some great content going out over there. Check that out, Christmas stuff. Be sure to subscribe if you like what you see. If you're not into video games, you're not into the humor, don't feel like you need to. Give this video a thumbs up. Not only because we got 2 more games and then we're done with this horrendous season, we get to move into the build, we get to move into everything, the sexy stuff, the 6 picks in the first 3 rounds, the $120 million in cap space. Give this video a thumbs up because you're excited to see what I got planned with going to the game on Sunday. I got a lot of stuff planned, so give the video a thumbs up for that. Check out Sportscasters and DolphinsTalk.com, 2 very great sites I'm associated with. One of them is a streaming site. The other one is a Dolphin content site. So much stuff. And other than that, hit that subscribe button. If you're a Giants fan, if you're a Dolphins fan, hit the subscribe button. I'm going to be, like I said, going live tomorrow. So I hope to see a lot of you guys there tomorrow around noon. Also, I'm going to go live a little bit while I'm in the parking lot and all this stuff because I'm going to the game Sunday. So hit that subscribe button. Other than that, I'll see you tomorrow at noon live. But like usual, stay classy. Subscribe to Chris, the Entertainah, really great guy. Fins up.